but I do think he will improve on whatever he does this afternoon. Whereas the filly, Haskoy, who actually followed him round the paddock, you could see a compare and contrast. She's a much more delicate individual. Should be a lot easier to get fit. She was on her toes a little bit, tongue-tie on for the first time. Cracking effort in the St Ledger on just her third career outing. Got demoted to fourth, but she ran a storming race. She probably wouldn't be one that would take a lot of racing, but I think she'd be quite easy to get fit. And if you want to back one first time out to run up to near their best, Haskoy would definitely be the one for me.
Confirmation of the Wexford result on your screen with Fruit Blossom 11-2 winning. All 12 ran in that. Just back to your beer. Does his run style cause you concern here as well or not?
I think why Kamari has been running well but without winning since Royal Ascot as a 3-year-old, I think he's in to provide a little bit of pace and just reduce the risk of a messy contest. When you see what he did at Newmarket last year, losing out a 4-1 on to Living Legend, you've got to have a bit of a doubt in the back of your mind with the beer on a going day. And I just felt he's going to come on for the first run of the season.
His run at Meydan was almost more impressive than his run at the Breeders' Cup, where he tried to come right off it when they hadn't gone that quick and nearly got there. But I think certainly with his first start of the season, that's all to bear in mind as possible concerns. What about Isra? Has one at the track here. Was last seen back end of last year, well held in the November handicap on heavy ground. This is a step up.
A lovely looking son of Muhara out of the Oaks winner Tegruda. But he's been a short price favourite in his last 3 starts in handicap company. Didn't run very well in the November handicap ending the season. He looks well. He's done well from 3 to 4. Garcia, I think, is the one that might run better first time out of the 2 handicappers stepping up into Group 3 company. This time last year,
Garcia looked all right, didn't he?
And again, in 103, they've decided to go in Group 3 company. I thought he was probably the more interesting outside of the top 2. Old Harrovian, don't know much about him. He's got loads of size and scope, but he's risking a mark of 94. There he is, number 5. Lovely looking individual by Sea the Stars.
Last few going forward, Old Harrovian and Kamari, 1 or 2 in the race in the Godolphin Blue. Here's Ian.
Kamari's in, Old Harrovian takes his place. That's it, lined up. They're off. They race with 1.5 miles here for this Al Rayyan Stakes. As they leave the starting stalls, Kamari is the first to show in front. Has the advantage, so rather free-going Old Harrovian in the red colours, fighting to go faster than his rider allows. Bolshoi Bally in dark blue is next. The blue and white halfway down the field is Isra, who won the Best Turned Out award. Then Haskoy, green, pink and white colours, about 2 lengths behind her, to Garci in the yellow, and the all-royal blue of Ibia is at the rear of the field as they make their way down then after around about 3 furlongs, and it continues to be Kamari. James Doyle with a white cap has the advantage. Oisin Murphy in red on Old Harrovian towards the rails. 1 off the rails, dark blue for Ryan Moore on Bolshoi Ballet. Frankie Dettori is next. Haskoy, a pink cap towards the running rail, and then the blue and white on the cap is Isra, the Best Turned Out winner with Jim Crowley. A yellow jacket, Garcia and Tom Marquand, and then Ibia and William Buick, the back marker of the 7 as they move past the halfway stage, move down the side of the course. Between them, they've won £4.2 million. 3/4 of that has been won by the one in the blue on the right at the rear, Ibia. Heading towards the home turn, his stablemate Kamari continues to have the advantage. He's almost 2 lengths ahead. Old Harrovian running in second place as they come to the turn into the straight. 1.5 lengths behind a Bolshoi Bally in third. Isra and Haskoy are together in 4th and 5th places. These are followed by Ibia, races the near side of Garcia as they head past the 4 furlong pole. And still out in front is Kamari, continues to bowl along with well over a length advantage. The white face of Old Harrovian running in second. Bolshoi Bally is encouraged along in 3rd place. Haskoy getting closer, the pink cap. On the left is Isra, behind him is Ibir, is having to work quite hard at the moment. Garcia is behind those. They are approaching the final 2 furlongs now. Kamari in front of Bolshoi Bally and Old Harrovian. Ibir is is next, trying to come on the outside. He's preceded by Isra. A big run from him as Bolshoi Ballet. And Ryan Moore lead at the furlong pole. 2 in second position is Isra. Ibir is next. Haskoi flashing home on the far side with Frankie. Running up towards the line. 3 in line. Haskoi against the running rail. Isra on the outside. Haskoi to Isra. Between them, Bolshoi Ballet. Ibir was only 4th.
Well, he's not going quietly, is he? Frank Kinatori on Haskoi scores. Rafe Beckett, the winning trainer. Tongue tie on. Haskoi gets up to win. Near side, Israel's run a great race. Bolshoi Ballet hit the front, just tired a little late on, and there coming home relatively in his own time is Yabir on his first start of the season. But you said off the back, a look at them in the paddock, there's only one place your money would go, that's Haskoi. Tongue tie on, and she's got up in the shadow of the post, Jay.
She's picked up really strongly inside the final furlong. I think from the 3 to the 1, she looked in trouble. For Morabir actually was going to come with a late run out of the pair of them. Early doors, as expected, Kamari in the field to set a nice strong pace for Ibir. Olderovian at the stalls, he was a little bit keen, inexperienced for the first few strides or so. That didn't help him last out. Bolshoi Ballet's run well. He was the main one to kick first. Isra, he's run on an absolute storm at back of the track. He won the London Gold Cup last year. But here I wasn't massively happy with how Frankie was going. It was a little bit of a niggle and there wasn't much of a response to start off with.
No, and there were a few in and around her going that little bit. That's where he starts to get a little bit lower in the saddle. Touch on Yabir, who's off at the rear of the field. Israel in front of him going that much better at this stage.
Yeah, I just think it was a standard first run after a layoff. He's had a bit of an injury. He's got Group 1 targets down the line. He just needed it.
Olderovian has travelled, head up there, and he was keen early. That's probably taken its toll. She doesn't get a perfect passage either, does she?
No, but she wasn't going well enough for Frankie to sky through the gaps as such. The one that really travelled well is Rise, an absolute stormer. He looked like he'd done very well from 3 to 4. Slight question mark how much he finds under pressure. He was often a bit favourite in handicaps, but he's really stepped up for his first run of the season. They'll be pleased with Bolshoi Ballet. He just kind of isn't. He's that level of a Group 3 individual. He's not going to be as good as what they hoped he was.
Would you keep going over this distance, or is he just not? Is he just found a couple too
back
good?
Up again. I don't think he stays.
I'm thinking going back.
I'm not sure he'd be outstayed by the filly Haskoi if you go back up in trip. I think if that's what the Beckett team want to do with her. He's just dependable. Really pleased with Isra. I thought he ran well, and then Ibir, I say it's just a stepping stone for me for the rest of his campaign.
What would you do with Haskoi now? How would you campaign her? Do you think she's a cup horse? She's in it. She has shortened to 7 to 2.
Yeah,
with Unibet.
Because she just got a little bit out of pace. Just the acceleration wasn't instant, and you'd suggest watching it, stepping her back up. In trip's only going to help her because she doesn't have to be out of question.
It's an interesting market for that now because, of course, Emily Dickinson disappointed last night. You don't have the all-conquering horse from last year in it. So yeah, so it's
Trushan doesn't appear to be the horse he once was. It's a very open
sure
division.
He'll go there. So
it's a big ask going another mile up in trip, but Golden Horn, out of a Nathaniel mare, doing well in the jumping sphere. Both those two stallions, and the way she took a while to pick up, I certainly wouldn't be rolling out, stepping her back up in trip and riding her a little bit patiently.
Try and get a line from Rafe Beckett on what she'll do next. She's receiving a warm round of applause, as is Frankie Dettori, making their way back into the winner's enclosure. Haskoi wins at Newbury.
Yes, she does. From a previous winner on this day, Isra, Bolshoi Ballet, looked a big old threat to get back into the winner's enclosure for the first time in a couple of years. He traded at 1 to 4 in the run.
Did I hear someone saying that there was a 7 to 2 quote for the Gold Cup?
I have to say.
In my
ear. Is that what was fed through? 7 to 2 with the Unibet? That's coming through.
That's what I heard, yeah. Most firms are bigger than that. Even some of them that have altered are still just about double figures. 8s seems to be a general price. I think she looked a real stayer. She looked an impressive in being so. I don't know what the quality of the race was. You know, when horses like Yabir go off favourite, I never know what sort of race it is. And Bolshoi Ballet hit the front.
He has got top quality form, obviously not on the day, but yes. So Haskoi has won. Rafe Beckett's got blue stocking to come later. It was in the race, the listed race for fillies later, that actually the dam of Haskoi won a few years ago. Right.